Inequality and the NFL, a digital story video by Garrett Shuchuk. This presentation will discuss and analyze the NFL and its internal and external clashes with the recent racial injustice happening in the USA. In recent years, the NFL has received a lot of scrutiny because of racial injustice. Through the NFL's platform, a player and an employee by the name of Colin Kaepernick began to raise awareness of the racial injustice happening in America. Many could relate and sympathize with Kaepernick's cause. Other players began to join the protest, which was to kneel/sit during the national anthem at the beginning of each football game. As more and more joined, many others took this as a great disrespect toward the nation. NFL owners, NFL executives, other players, and individuals of the public expressed that this behavior was insulting and disrespectful, subconsciously shifting the discussion from racial injustice to patriotism. In the league, currently, 70% of the players are black, and 31 of the 32 owners are white. Only one owner in the NFL is not white, Shahid Khan, a Pakistani-born American and majority owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the NFL is feeling the pressure from all sides to do the right thing when it comes to social injustice, internally and externally. Internal clashes. The internal clashes focus on Colin Kaepernick and his battle with the NFL. This is a quote explaining why he kneels for the national anthem. I am not going to stand to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and other people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. These four individuals are just a few of the examples of the current racial justice in the USA. These victims were profiled and subjected to unjust police brutality. Trayvon Martin, 17 years old, Florida, 2012, was shot by neighborhood watch volunteer George Zimmerman. Eric Gardner, 43, New York City, 2014, was killed after he was put in a chokehold for multiple seconds by a police officer. Gardner then said, I can't breathe, 11 times as he was held down by several officers on a sidewalk. Died later that day. Michael Brown, 18, Missouri, 2014, was walking on the street when stopped by the police. During the interaction, was shot and killed. Dante Parker, 36, California, 2014, was riding a bike in order to improve his health, but because he matched the description of an attempted burglar, he wound up being stunned with a taser gun at least 25 times by a police officer, placed face down, and denied medical care. He died later that day. Colin Kaepernick, the social justice warrior. Colin Kaepernick is a former NFL player and employee. He thought it was essential to raise awareness about the racial injustice that had been happening at this time. Kaepernick had a substantial platform which he used to communicate his message with the world. When Kaepernick's employment contract was up, and at the height of his social activism, he was somewhat blackballed from the league. No NFL team wanted Kaepernick because of all the attention that surrounded him and his cause, even though his unemployment wasn't because of his football ability and/or performance. The picture to the right is the cover of GQ magazine, which awarded Kaepernick Citizen of the Year. The NFL owners and management versus Kaepernick. The picture to the right shows Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner. He's employed by the NFL owners to govern the league. Kaepernick has filed a grievance under the collective bargaining agreement alleging collusion against signing him to an NFL contract. The filing, which demands an arbitration hearing on the matter, says the NFL and its owners have colluded to deprive Mr. Kaepernick of employment rights in retaliation for Mr. Kaepernick's leadership and advocacy for equality and social justice, and is bringing awareness to peculiar institutions still undermining the racial equality in the United States. If this were to be true, this could really damage the NFL and could permanently put a stain on the NFL. External clashes. This will examine the NFL's dip in TV ratings, angry business partners, and boycotts. The negative effect the NFL is dealing with is the dip in TV ratings. According to a web article, anti-American anthem protests now costing networks NFL millions in lost ad revenue by Warner Huston of Breitbart.com. Ratings have been falling week after week. TV networks are now giving money back to advertisers because the audience watching football games is not as much as before. These returns are being referred to as make goods. Some are even calling these make goods the Kaepernick effect. The cost of running an ad during a football game is very expensive. A 30-second ad could cost around $500,000. Advertisers are arguing since the football audience is declining, so should the cost of an ad. As a new Rasmussen poll finds that 32% of adults surveyed say that they have stopped watching the NFL football because of the protests, while only 13% said that they were more likely to tune in because of the anthem protests. The poll also found that more women than men are tired of the Black Lives Matter-like protests, with 29% of men saying that they are less likely to watch pro football compared to 38% of women who announced that they are uncomfortable with the protests. Papa John's is claiming that sales are down because of the players who kneeled during the national anthem to protest racial injustice. The NFL leadership has hurt Papa John's stakeholders, said CEO John Shatner. The NFL has been a long valued partner over the years, but we're certainly disappointed that the NFL and its leadership did not resolve the ongoing situation to the satisfaction of all parties long ago. This should have been nipped in the bud a year and a half ago. Papa John's has complained directly to the NFL about decreased in-game pizza sales. The declining NFL viewership stems not only from the people being upset by the national anthem protests, but also from those concerned about concussions, another issue in the NFL. Plus, a growing number of football fans are opting to watch games online instead of the television. 2017 NFL boycott. Due to the player protests, people are starting to boycott brands which are sponsors to the NFL. In this example, the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office are boycotting Hickson Ford. According to an article by CNBC's Phil LeBeau, Bossier Parish Sheriff Julian Whittington in Louisiana is taking a stand on the issue of whether NFL players should stand for the national anthem. He has informed a local Ford dealership his department will stop buying Ford police vehicles as long as the automaker advertises with the NFL. In conclusion, racial injustice is still prevalent in today's society. In this case, when Black NFL players attempt to use their platform of professional athlete to be an advocate and leader for equality, the NFL shuts them down because the league probably considers the topic to be too detrimental to the league's brand, even though the majority of the employees of the NFL are Black. The NFL needs to be way more proactive with topics of this nature going forward.